What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Hail Mary. Hope you all had a great weekend watching football, watching baseball, whatever you were doing. I hope you had a good time doing it. I am finally a little bit over the Pittsburgh Steelers loss. Still not completely over it, and I'm not going to be over it until the Steelers win a game, which, looking at the rest of their schedule, may be never, honestly. But there are some things I want to talk about. We had a jam-packed weekend of sports, and it was a fun time to watch some football, baseball, hockey. We're not really going to talk about hockey. Not yet, at least. We will soon. Which also, shout out Fanatics. Got an email saying that they're sending over some sort of hockey's back care package or something. I don't know what it is, but if you guys want to see that, let me know, and I'll do a little unboxing video. That'll be pretty sick. So shout out Fanatics for that. But yeah, let's talk about the potential World Series. We have a Game 7 tonight, if you're watching this when it first comes out. We have a Game 7 tonight between the Mariners and the Blue Jays. We have college football coaches are getting fired left and right. We're going to talk about the two best teams in college football and why it's those two teams, and then a huge drop-off. College football is kind of like the NFL, where I don't know who's good except for like maybe one team. We're going to talk about the Broncos versus the Giants. That was an insane game. We're going to talk about what is a catch in the NFL, because I don't really know. Nobody knows what a catch in the NFL is anymore. And then we'll talk about the game that we saw last night, and another reason why I have no idea who's good, and that is CMC and the 49ers beating the Atlanta Falcons. So, let's first give a big shout out, Underdog, Sleeper, big shout out to them. Sign up, use the code HMM. When you sign up, you're going to get yourself a free 0.5 gimme pick, which is going to be like Amon-Ra St. Brown only needs one receiving yard, or Jared Goff only needs one passing yard, something like that, something easy. Plus, and then on top of that, you're also going to get a deposit match. So yeah, sign up for Underdog, Sleeper, code HMM, get yourself the deposit match, plus a 0.5 gimme pick. And then on top of that, big shout out to our other sponsor, being myself. Check out hailmary.media, read all of our latest blogs. You can see all of our other content over there, our short form content, our meme content, our post content, you know what I'm saying, like our Twitter content and all that. Go to hailmary.media and then follow us on all of our short form platforms, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. You're already on YouTube Shorts, whatever. Spotify, if you're listening there, go to YouTube. You know where to go. Big shout out. And then again, if you are watching on YouTube, make sure to hit that subscribe button, hit the bell notification, and that like button. And if you're listening to this on Spotify, follow us, rate it 5 stars. That'd be sick. That'd be awesome. I'd appreciate that very much. Let's get into talking about the World Series and what I think is going to happen in the Game 7 tonight, and then what I think is going to happen in the overall World Series, because honestly, regardless of who wins tonight, spoiler alert, it doesn't matter. So the World Series, last night we just saw the Blue Jays. What was the actual final score? We saw the Blue Jays win 6-2 yesterday versus the Mariners to force a Game 7, and I feel it's going to be a little bit more of the same tonight. Now, these are two teams. Usually when you get into like a Game 7 situation, guys kind of play a little bit skittish. I shouldn't say skittish. A little more cautious. And you're going to not see guys swinging for the fences. You're going to see a little bit more small ball. You're going to see guys not taking as many risks. For some reason tonight with these two teams, I have a feeling we are going to see balls flying out of the ballpark. I have a feeling that this is going to be a super high scoring game. I feel the guys are going to just go absolute balls to the walls to make it to the World Series. And when we see the Blue Jays absolutely nuking the ball, they are nuking the ball. Like, they'll hit 5 home runs in a single game. The way that I'm leaning for this game right now is I want to... All right, here's what I'll say. If it is a lower scoring game, like something 3-2, the Seattle's going to win. Seattle will win this game. But if it becomes a boat race, just track meet of home run, I have a feeling the Blue Jays are going to win big. I shouldn't say big, maybe by like 3 runs. And that's kind of where I'm going to lean. I think I'm going to lean, after that win yesterday, 6-2, Vladdy hit another absolute piss missile moonshot. I'm leaning more towards the Blue Jays making it to the World Series versus the Dodgers. And Regardless, though, so my prediction for tonight is that the Blue Jays win. However, regardless of who wins the game tonight, the Mariners or the Blue Jays, I think they're getting bootied down by the Dodgers. I think that there will be a singular game in the World Series where the Mariners or the Blue Jays will take over and hit enough bombs to win. But I just think in the end, the Dodgers are just too damn good. They can straight up beat you with one player, and that is Shohei Ohtani. And then on top of that, they have a plethora of other players who could also beat you. I have a feeling that regardless of who wins the world or who's in the World Series today from this game, I am predicting the Blue Jays. The Dodgers are going to win 4-1 in the series. I think that it'll be like Dodgers win the first two or the first three. Mariners or Blue Jays get one just to keep their season alive, and all the talk radio is going to be like, can they actually do it? Can they reverse sweep? Can they do it? They can't. They won't. They're going to lose 4-1. That's seriously what I think is going to happen. The Dodgers are just that damn good. And I'm not going to talk about the whole situation with people thinking that they're ruining baseball. I already wrote a blog about that, and there are so many people who are saying like, well, you're just a typical fucking Dodgers fan. You're just a Dodgers fan. That's why you're saying they're not ruining baseball. Buddy, if you followed me for 3 seconds, you would understand that I don't like the Dodgers. You would understand what fan I am, and you would understand why I'm writing this article and why I'm so mad. It's because I'm a Pittsburgh Pirate fan, and I'm sick of our owner. But that's my prediction. I think the Blue Jays win tonight by 2 or 3 runs. Probably 3 runs. 3 or 4 runs, maybe. I'm going to say 3 or 4 runs. Blue Jays by 3 or 4 runs. Take them on the run line. They're going to play the Dodgers. Dodgers are going to win the first 2. Blue Jays are going to steal game 3. Win game 3. Dodgers win the next 2. Dodgers win 4-1 in that series. And then we go on and we have a lockout in baseball. Everyone's upset. The players are pissed because there's a salary, because they want a salary cap in place. And old people are mad because they had to watch the Dodgers win another World Series. And that's just how it goes. That is my prediction for the World Series this year. All right. So let's move on to talk about college coaches. We just had another victim of the college coach firing. We might have another one as well. Billy Napier was just fired as the head coach of Florida football, and it seems like Florida State's going to be losing their coach in Mike Norvell. And where I'm on about this is that if I'm Virginia Tech, listen, they should have handed, the second James Franklin got fired, they should have immediately slid him $100 million. Because now there are 2 more jobs that are open that look a lot better than Virginia Tech right now. Because if I'm James Franklin, if I can go coach Florida, if I can go coach Florida State, which I actually would rather go coach Florida State than Florida right now, I would do that. And Virginia Tech, I think, is missing the boat on not just throwing money at James Franklin. I think that this is tough because right now Florida fans are in that situation where I think that they are going to feel too entitled for James Franklin, and I have a feeling that it's going to be the whole Greg Schiano situation when he got hired by Tennessee. For some reason, I feel James Franklin's going to get hired as the coach of Florida football, and they are going to riot, thinking that they deserve Urban Meyer again, or Nick Saban should come back and coach for them. I have a feeling that if James Franklin gets hired as the head coach of Florida football, they're going to riot, and then he's going to get fired, like the whole Greg Schiano thing, where they're going to be like, no, never mind, we don't want you, never mind. I do think that it is a better opportunity for James Franklin to go to Florida State, considering that you're not walking into a situation that is just absurd. Because if you're playing Florida or coaching at Florida, you got to go up against Ole Miss, LSU, which LSU should fire their coach. If the LSU job opens up and James Franklin doesn't take that, that's stupid. But as of right now, it's Florida. But you got to play against Alabama, Ole Miss, like all these teams in the SEC right now. Why not go to the ACC, and then all you really have to contend with is Clemson and Miami for the most part, which Miami just lost. So I would rather be the head coach of Florida State than Florida right now, and I still think the Florida fans are going to believe that they are too good for James Franklin, which I actually think that James Franklin would help that program a ton. I really do. But overall, in the end, I still think that Virginia Tech is not serious if they're not just throwing money at the wall to get James Franklin right now. Because other than that, like, what are they waiting for? Do they think that he's not going to go to Florida State or Florida or LSU if that job opens up, if Brian Kelly gets fired? Or say if Matt Rule does get poached and go to Penn State, and then would he take the Nebraska job? Like, Virginia Tech, you are lowest man on the totem pole right now in terms of everybody else who's losing their coaches. You should have been the first one. The second you saw a tweet, even if it was fake, that he got fired, I'm shooting something out being like, here's $100 million. Please take it. Please be our next head coach. And that's it. Like, no questions asked. You are our head coach. And like, what does Virginia Tech have to lose? The big problem with James Franklin is that he couldn't win the big game. The big problem with Virginia Tech is that they can't win games. So why not at least try? Bring him to the ACC. Again, all he has to do is contend with Clemson, who's looking down right now. Clemson can't win a game to save their life. Miami, who they just lost, but they're still a good team. But yeah, I just think that it is malpractice that Virginia Tech did not just throw cash at James Franklin. And what happens for Billy Napier? What happens for Mike Norvell? Still don't know what's going on at Penn State. Who's going to be the next head coach there? I don't think it's going to be Matt Rule. I really don't. I had to hear from Penn State fans are now saying that, oh, well, we're going to try to get Urban Meyer, even though you guys were shitting on him, saying that he's a bad person for years. And now that, you need a coach, he's like, oh my God, he's the best coach ever. Best coach ever. Urban Meyer. So I don't know who's going to be the next head coach of Penn State. I really don't. It's I guess we'll have to see. Like, maybe is there going to be an NFL guy that gets fired? And honestly, who would be fun is Mike McDaniel. Mike McDaniel doesn't fit the vibe of a Penn State. Mike McDaniel fits the vibe of a Florida, honestly. If we can get Mike McDaniel coaching, because he's going to lose his job too. I mean, they got killed by the Browns. Mike McDaniel, I feel that if he still wants to be a head coach, yeah, I think college is his best bet. But I don't know who's going to be the head coach of Penn State. But yeah, Billy Napier's going to be losing his job. Mike Norvell's going to be losing his job. So who do you guys think is going to be the head coach of Penn State next year? And where do you think James Franklin's going to go? Because again, I think that Virginia Tech should have just threw money at the wall to get him. That's just me. And then speaking of college football, listen, I don't know who's good. Well, I do know who's good. And there's two teams in college football right now, and it's Ohio State, Indiana, and then there's a gap that's like 10 miles wide right now. I don't know who's really that good right now in college football. I mean, Oregon lost to Indiana, so I guess it should go Ohio State, Indiana, small gap, Oregon. But other than that, I mean, Alabama's looking better after their loss, but now that loss to Florida State looks even worse. But that's like one of the first It's so confusing right now. And that's what I love about college football, which actually college football this year is the same as the NFL. I don't know who's good. I don't think anybody knows who's good. There's really no good teams in the NFL right now. Like, the Colts are the best team in football right now statistically. But would you really say that they're the best team in all of football? I mean, maybe. I guess we're not talking about that right now. We'll talk about that whenever I do my rankings video. But yeah, for college football, it may be the bias. It may be just because I'm not keeping up enough, according to some of you. I mean, I try to at least watch something from every single game. But can you really say, like, that Ohio State's not going to win the national championship again this year? Because what makes you think that they won't? Unless they run into Indiana and Indiana somehow finds a way. But Ohio State, their defense this year is better than last year. Their offense this year is absurd. Carnell Tate is a wide receiver 1 in the NFL right now. people are saying that he's the next CD Lamb. And then they obviously have Jeremiah Smith, and then they have Brandon Innes, who was supposed to be a wide receiver one type guy, and he ain't doing a thing. That's just how much talent. Like, if Brandon Innes was at Penn State right now, he's the wide receiver one by far and away. There's only like 3 schools in the country. Okay, I shouldn't say 3. There's maybe like 10 schools in the country that he is not the wide receiver. Why did I say it like that? Wide receiver. The wide receiver one at. And he's the wide receiver 3 right now on Ohio State. I don't know how you can say that they're not going to win the national championship this year. Yes, Ryan Day has a history of slipping up somewhere. And with how bad Michigan looks, because Michigan looks terrible. Michigan sucks. They did beat Washington, which good for them. But Michigan looks terrible. With how bad they look, it actually scares me that Ryan Day is going to play down to them and then they're going to lose again because that's just what he does. But other than that, what makes you think that this team isn't better than last year and they're not going to win the national championship again? I guess the only 2 things you could maybe say, Ryan Day's going to slip up against Michigan and get a bad matchup in the college football playoff, whatever. And then you can potentially say that, well, Julian saying, obviously first-year starter, could be tough for him when he gets to a playoff level, but I guess we'll see. Because he's played road games, but it hasn't been like that raucous, crazy, but even then, he's not going to have that in the playoffs. He's going to have a neutral site game. So I don't really know. Like, he played at Washington. It looked like it rattled him for, like, a drive. So I don't know. But other than that, like, there are 2 teams in college football right now who are by far and away better than everybody. It's Ohio State, Indiana, and then I'll give a little gap, and then Oregon. And then maybe, like, Alabama. But I actually think that Oregon's a lot better than Alabama. So it should go Ohio State, Indiana, gap, Oregon, gap, Alabama. But then Texas A&M's really good as well. And Georgia Tech keeps winning. So, like, I don't know. I'll write an article about this as well, too. I really got to look at it. But that's how I'm leaning. So who do you guys have winning the national championship this year? Realistically. Because I can't see anybody else other than Ohio State. I really can't. Like, the worst matchup for Ohio State this year, I don't know. Maybe Alabama. Like, we need somebody with, like, really good quarterback play, which Ty Simpson is. And maybe if Ohio State runs into Indiana in the playoffs, or they're probably going to end up playing them in the Big Ten championship games. I guess we'll see there. But, yeah, I don't know who's going to win the national championship this year, except Ohio State. They're like the only team that I can think of right now, because I don't know who's good. All right, let's talk about the Broncos versus the Giants game, because Brian Daboll should absolutely, positively, everybody on the staff, actually, from the ownership to the janitor, should lose their job if you are any part of the New York Giants. I think if you're a fan of the New York Giants, you should probably be fired from your job. That's how bad this loss was. If you're working at a bank right now and you're a New York Giant fan, they should give you a pink slip, because what happened yesterday? So the New York Giants gave up 33 points. 33. Listen to that again. 33 points in the fourth quarter versus the Denver Broncos. It wasn't a 33-point comeback. That would be more insane. I made this tweet yesterday. There is a kid right now who is playing Madden, and all they do is playing Madden, who wouldn't have given up 33 points in a single quarter. Not in a game, a single quarter. That's the worst loss of the year. That's the worst loss of the year. The Denver Broncos look to be dead in the water. I think it was like 19-0. It was a 19-point comeback, and the fourth quarter just became a back-and-forth affair, and then somehow, someway, 33 points were scored in the fourth quarter for the Denver Broncos. So what happened was, towards the end of the game, Broncos scored, they take the lead. Then the Giants go down, they score a touchdown. All they need to do is kick the extra point. So then it would be 30, or it would be 33-30. They missed the extra point, because why wouldn't they? Denver Broncos go down with 33 seconds left, which the number 33 is very significant, and we'll talk about it. 33 seconds left after the kickoff. Kick a game-winning field goal. They win 33-32. Where the number 33 is significant? First of all, 33, how many points they scored in the fourth quarter? 33, how many seconds they had on that final drive? 33, how many solo tackles they had? 33 was how many points they scored in the complete game. And then yesterday was them inducting Demaryius Thomas in the Ring of Honor for the Denver Broncos. He passed away at the age of 33. So yesterday, 33 was the number of the day for the Denver Broncos. And every single person, the Giants, owner, coach, GM, all the players, their janitorial staff, the everybody who works in the kitchen, anybody, Giants fans, you should all be fired. Because that is one of the worst losses I've ever seen. 33 points in the fourth quarter. There's a kid right now playing Madden who wouldn't have even done that. Brian Daboll should lose his job. It's terrible. Free Jackson Dart. Free Cam Scatterboo. And that's about it, because the rest of the team sucks. Speaking of teams, though, that don't suck, the San Francisco 49ers, how do they keep doing it with Mac Jones? I can't believe it. Now, I know how they're doing it, and that's because they are milking, they are milking CMC dry right now. Pause. But for real, it is crazy to me how good Kyle Shanahan is as a coach. Like, I know that Mac Jones was a first-round pick. No slight on Mac Jones. But there's a reason that he was out in New England. There's a reason why he's not the starter right now in Jacksonville. Because he just wasn't the guy. You know? And what he's doing right now with Mac Jones could be the starter of this team. And somehow I still think that he's going to lead them to the NFC Championship game. Now they're going to get Brock Purdy back, and they'll probably be even better. But if the 49ers make the playoffs this year, well, why wouldn't Kyle Shanahan be the coach of the year? He lost George Kittle. He doesn't have a wide receiver right now. Ricky Pearsall's hurt. They got rid of Deebo Samuel. Brandon Ayuk's been hurt all year. Everybody on this team gets hurt. And he's somehow still winning games. And he just played up against the Falcons, who I don't know if they're good or not. Because one week they lose 30-0 to the Panthers. But then the next week they beat the Bills. I don't know who's good in the NFL this year. But what I do know is that I honestly think that if you put Dylan Gabriel, who I think is the worst starting quarterback in the NFL right now, maybe Tua. If you put Dylan Gabriel in this San Francisco offense, he's probably a Super Bowl champion. And that's not saying that Dylan Gabriel's good. That's just saying how freaking good of a coach Kyle Shanahan is. I cannot believe it. They are awesome. They're such a good team. And when they're fully healthy and fully staffed, which they never are, they'll never be fully healthy. It's just the way of the road, bubs. Way of the road, bubs. For the 49ers. But seriously, it's crazy how good they are. And Kyle Shanahan should probably be the coach of the year. Honestly, in my opinion. And then the last thing I want to talk about, I know this is a shorter episode. The last thing I want to talk about, though, is what is a catch in the NFL? And this is more of like a rant about the refs. So yesterday we saw in the Vikings game. Now the Vikings were still probably going to lose this game, but TJ Hawkinson looked like he had a touchdown, and then all the refs on the field said that it was a catch. Every single ref was like, "Yep, good. Let's kick the extra point. Let's do it." And then they get a buzz from New York saying, "Well, it's not a catch." We need to stop. I understand that they want to get calls right, but if everybody on the sidelines, the head ref, the side judge, the fucking field judge, if everybody is like, yep, perfect, good to go, why shouldn't it count? If everybody who is at the game agrees, then it should be good. We are relying too much, like the same thing with the fuck what game? The Detroit game. Where Jared Goff scored a touchdown, everybody in attendance was like, yeah, okay, that's good. All the refs were like, it's good. Chiefs didn't even argue it. Detroit was happy. Every ref said, yeah, Jared Goff scored a touchdown. They get a buzz down from New York. And they're like, no, it's not a touchdown. But then Dan Campbell is like, hey, well, did you guys get a buzz from New York? And they're like, no, we didn't. No, we're reviewing it ourselves. If every single referee is in agreement who is at that game, just let it play on. You know? I understand that you want to get it right. But you should then take steps to punish those referees who are getting it wrong. You get what I'm saying? Like, if everybody in attendance and nobody notices it, it's such a slippery slope. Because then there are times that they're like, well, we can't review this. But it's like, why? Why can't you? So, because, like, for that Jared Goff touchdown, if he would have been stopped at the 1 yard line or the half-inch yard line, didn't score a touchdown, it wouldn't have been reviewed. And then they could have just punched it in normally. And then it's a touchdown, no one cares. You know what I'm saying? So, like, it's either you go all in on every single play where it's like, nope, this was an illegal shift. Nope, this was pass interference. You either go all in or you do none at all. Because it's such a subjective, slippery slope as to when New York buzzes down or when New York doesn't buzz down. So do it for everything or do it for nothing. That's my takeaway from it. Because right now, it seems like New York is just like, well, let's just do it because we want to. Oh, hey, Vegas is calling. Let's do it because Vegas called. So Vegas called us, so we're going to call you. It makes no sense to me. And then that's just where it leads into, like, what is a catch in the NFL? Because it seemed like TJ Hawkinson caught the ball. TJ Hawkinson doesn't know what a catch is. The refs don't know what a catch is. I guess the only people in the world who know what a catch is are the guys who were sitting in the booth in New York, not even at the game. They're the only ones who know what a catch is. Nobody knows. And we've been having this debate for a decade now. What is a catch in the NFL? And not a single person knows. Can we finally, please, figure it out? Can we figure it out? Please. Because everything is so subjective now. So why can't it be, well, he had it. I would rather them just say that, be like, listen, hey, his hands came off the ball, but yet I would rather, here's how it goes. He goes, after further review, his hands came off the ball, but he had it. You guys know it. Come on. He had it. It's a touchdown. I would rather them say that, honestly. So that's just that. I don't know what a catch is in the NFL. I'm getting sick of these refs using New York when they feel like it. Makes no sense to me. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for listening to this latest edition of the Hail Mary. I hope I can get this out because I know that there's like an internet down thing, something. I don't know what's going on right now. I can't get on Amazon. None of my lights are working. Well, actually, those turned on, but that's just because it's a timer. I don't know. Things aren't working because Amazon's down. I don't know. I'll figure it out. Anyway, thank you guys for listening to this edition of the Hail Mary. Big shout out to Underdog and Sleeper. Use the code HMM when you sign up. Get yourself a free 0.5 gimme pick plus a deposit match as well. When you play $5, you can get like $100 instantly. I forget for both things, but all you gotta do is deposit. Literally, just sign up. Use the code HMM. You're gonna get yourself free money and a free pick. I don't know why you wouldn't do that. Seriously, it's free money. And big shout out again to myself. HailMary.media is our website. Read all of our latest blogs and check out all of our short form content. TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Shorts, Snapchat. You know where to find us. If you're listening on Spotify, follow us, rate us 5 stars. And if you're watching on YouTube, Hit that subscribe button. We're trying to get to 10,000 subscribers. You guys have been running it up lately. I very much appreciate it. We're trying to get to 10,000 subscribers, and also hit that bell notification as well so you never, ever, ever miss an upload. Appreciate you guys so much. I will see you all on... I might make a video. Well, no, I'm not going to make a video tomorrow. I'm going to the Penguin game tomorrow. I'm very excited for that. It's Dollar Hot Dog Day, so I'm going to eat myself into a coma. So I guess I'll see you guys all on Wednesday. Yeah, probably Wednesday. All right, guys. Peace out. Yeah, see ya.